sing with us. Everybody do it. Let's go. We're gonna turn the world upside down. We're gonna turn these people right side up. We're gonna shout until we're 6 feet over. We're gonna demonstrate something unusual. Come on. Something.
Partnerships are vital to our global outreach, enabling us to take the love and hope of Jesus Christ to those who need it most. Our Boots on the Ground Partnership Program physically ministers to those in desperate situations all over the world. The Israel Partnership furthers Kim's legacy of outreach to Israel and Jewish people worldwide. We invite you to become a partner today. Join us today and be part of a community that inspires hope, brings restoration to life, and often healing from the past. Together, we can make a difference, and we thank you for your ongoing support.
Shall become a trumpet, says the Lord.
Be a praying president, not a religious one, for I will fool the people, says the Lord. God says, I will put at your helm for 2 terms a president that will pray, but he will not be a praying president when he starts. I will put him in office, and then I will baptize him with the Holy Spirit and my power, says the Lord.
The Spirit of the Lord says there shall be one assassination attempt that shall endeavor to destroy the plans that I have for this nation. Look to your vice president.
But California, I'm looking at you. Gold, stone, California. God says, once you recognize the man that I have raised up, pray, for the enemy will do everything in his power to put a witch in the White House. Hear me. I have found a man after my own heart, and he is amongst you. He is one of the brothers but singled out for presidency of the United States of America. Strange July, hypnotic November, and oh Christmas, where winter shall say, and me, I will make them happy. My will shall be done. And in the fall, will show you whom I have chosen to pray for and guide this nation. You shall rejoice, for it is my man. It is my chosen David, says the Lord, the Lord, the Lord, the Lord, the Lord, the Lord.
Hi, everyone. Oh, my goodness gracious. I have been just dying to get over here and speak to you guys this week. So much is going on. Of course, you guys know about the plane crashes. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. I'm looking around me here. Okay, so you know about the plane crashes. I mean, what is going on? So last night I made a video. I put it up on my X page. A lot of you watching, you saw it, with the you know nothing prophecy. And I tried to post it on my YouTube channel, and I couldn't. YouTube was giving me a hard time. I was like, why? I'm just showing the same plane crash footage everyone else is showing, and then my dad prophesying. Now, I put the Malaysian jet in there. So those of you who saw the video on my X, I actually need to go over to the YouTube comments here so I can see what you guys are saying. Where's this mouse? What's happening? The mouse is acting. Oh, it's upside down. Oh, my goodness, you guys. Wait, what did Amanda post? A plane in Houston, the engine caught fire. I saw. Now, this is on my X page. We're going to get there in a second. Nikki Thomas said that. Hi, Nikki Thomas. Let's scroll down here. Oh, my goodness, so many comments. Let me catch up. Okay. Oh, you're making Sunday dinner ham with green bean casserole and baked potatoes. Oh, I'm starving. I'm starving, and that sounds so good. I've been so busy getting ready. YouTube are liberal. That's right, Larry. Because no problem from Rumble. I was posted the video. No problem on X. I was able to post it there. I was a little unsure about posting it at all because I didn't want to be presumptuous about the plane crashes being nefarious when maybe they're not, and I don't want to be like clickbaiting, and I don't want to be, because this is my dad's prophecy, as you know. But here's the thing: my husband and I have been watching. All of us have, but my husband and I both we're seeing this stuff, we're watching this stuff on the news, and both of us said to each other, "They will train pilots. They have trained pilots to plunge, to attack, to steal." And both he and I were like quoting the prophecy. It's my dad. If for those of you who don't know, that's my verbatim what my dad prophesied. And so he and I both were thinking that in our head. And I know other people were kind of contacted me, notifications I got on X, and that. So I put the video together, and I kind of just broke up the prophecy, the highlights of it, and then I put video footage of the plane crashes in between, and included the Malaysian jet footage that I lifted from Ashton Forbes' page. So I don't know why YouTube had a problem, but I didn't want to risk dealing with them. So, but here we are. I am actually on YouTube right now, as well as Rumble and X, and of course, everybody over there at the House of Destiny chat. Welcome. We've got Janelle Speaks is back. Oh, Janelle, you know, I'm seeing you send me stuff. You sent me something on X, Janelle. Trying to remember what you sent me, because I think I retweeted you, didn't I? Well, anyway, welcome to the House of Destiny chat. I love it when you guys are in there. So you can actually watch this show on our website live, and we never have to worry about anything there. Let's see what's happening here on Rumble. Amanda Grace. I haven't talked to Amanda all week. I need to call her. Yes, YouTube yuck. Rumble gave me no trouble posting the video. You're 90 minutes from Nashville. I'm outside of Nashville. I'm not in Nashville, but I can get there in about 20 minutes or so. Get to downtown. Those who have ears to hear, some people don't or can't hear. Well, that's the thing about prophecy I've discovered since doing this. I mean, and also just before I was a person talking with my dad, some people just don't believe in it, and it's fine. It's a gift. Prophecy is a gift given to those who can see, oh my goodness, this is it. But again, I felt a little weird about the video, so I didn't push it with YouTube. I threw it up there on my Rumble, and I just posted it on my X page. I just wanted to see what the reaction would be. So you guys need to realize sometimes I will post that kind of thing, and I'm not really making a definitive statement of this is what I believe it to be fulfilled. I'm asking a question, and I'll try to indicate that somehow in the video too. Like, is this because I don't know. You know, I can, you know, I have the advantage of knowing my dad and seeing how he operated. I do have a unique perspective, but that doesn't mean I'm right. I mean, how many times have I been wrong about the Esther? I've been so wrong about the Esther that I have stopped. Like, people, you guys are sending me stuff about Kristi Noem, and I don't want to say, look, she's got big, beautiful eyes, and there she is dealing with the cartel. So it probably is Kristi Noem, and I did not pick it up all these years and all this time. So, but I just can't. I just can't, because I don't want it to be like this guessing game. Like I've told you about prophecy. If it comes to pass, you're going to know. You don't need me to tell you. And then you can come talk to me about it, and I can give my opinion, and I could be wrong. I could be wrong because my dad is not here for me to ask. And, you know, he used to be able to give some insight. He used to do Code Breakers with Sunil on his broadcast, and they would review prophecy, and then he would be able to say, well, this or this or this. And we don't have that anymore. The closest thing you have to that is me. Or Charlie Jordan is a great source. And I don't know if you guys have seen, but we have a J-Dog is asking, I don't know if she's the Esther Christie Nome. I don't know, J-Dog. I don't know. I have gotten myself into so much trouble over that prophecy. Some people think it's Melania Trump. It could be, but here's the thing. I have to look at specific things in that prophecy. Cartels will be afraid of a woman anointed by God. If cartels are afraid, then she has to have some kind of authority or be in a position where they would fear her. Remote control on the Black Hawk helicopter, because this is we better get into this. Okay, Lou, we're going to pull up my X page. We're not going to waste any time. We're 12 minutes in. Don't want to waste any time today because I have so much. Like last week, I didn't get to everything I wanted to. I'm probably not going to get to everything today. I'm starting to think I should do like a midweek something on my YouTube channel and my Rumble channel, like middle of the week, because we never get to everything. Look, guys, it is kind of looking like Christie. I mean, Christie Nome is there. We're dealing with the cartel. She's there in the uniform. She has big, beautiful eyes. She's certainly beautiful. So I wouldn't be surprised. Tulsi is another option. Also big, beautiful eyes. Oh my goodness. Let's get to the Senate hearings that we had this week. So I'm going to just pull my X page up, and let's start at the bottom. We're going to go down, down, down. We're going down, down, down. I was listening to Chopin in the car on the way over here. There's a piece by Chopin that is very personal to me because of something that happened to me when President Trump's first wife, Ivana, passed away. Now, if you remember, some of you will remember, I was scheduled to interview Eric Trump, and we had to cancel, or we had to reschedule because his mother died. And the night before she died, I had been praying on my patio, and God showed me something. I had this insane experience, and it all had to do with this piece of music by Chopin, which just turned on in my car. I just have my music on random, and it played on the way over here. And I was just taken back to that moment on my patio. And I heard his wife is going to die. And I had been texting with Roger Stone and Roger Teal that day. And so the most recent text messages I had were both Rogers, and they were both speaking very well of their wives to me. And my immediate thing was to pray, oh my goodness, something, especially Roger Stone's wife had cancer, and God healed her of the cancer. And so I worried about that, and ended up finding out the next day there was more to it, but that it was Ivana Trump. And then so we had to reschedule the interview with Eric because of that. And then we rescheduled it. And when we did finally interview Eric Trump, my mother and I, they were raiding Mar-a-Lago while we were interviewing Eric. And we did not know until afterwards. So there's those strange events that happen. And all through that experience, I just kept thinking, but why? Why did that happen? Is it just a significant thing, or is there more to it? So. Okay, so Trump's first week, we didn't get to this last week, and I mean, look at the first week. This is a president. This is unreal. I mean, look at this. Immigration, dealt with that, declared a national emergency at the southern border, deployed thousands of troops, ordered construction of the wall to start again, ordered Homeland Security to remove illegal migrants, designated cartels as terrorists, which should have been done long ago, blocked all illegal entry, including asylum seekers and refugees, shut down the CBP app. Now, the CBP app was the app that was showing people how to get here. He ended birthright citizenship. He beefed up the visa screenings, threatened to prosecute Democrat officials impeding deportations, reinstated the term illegal alien, and arrested 2,300. That was just the first week. Now I don't even know. I haven't even looked this week. at that because of all the plane crashes. He pardoned the January 6ers, the pro-lifers, a bunch of other people. Signed executive orders banning the weaponization of government, banned censorship of free speech, directed investigations into past misconduct by the government, recognized two genders, man and woman only. So people cannot change their gender on their passports. He banned federal funds from promoting gender ideology or paying for transitions for prison inmates. What is up with that? It's unbelievable. Canceled the DEI stuff. Rescinded affirmative action executive order. Fired 1,000 Biden presidential appointees. U.S. embassies can only fly the American flag. Hallelujah. Declared a national energy emergency. So pulling out of the Paris Climate Accords. Deregulation of domestic energy production, especially Alaska. Paused federal leasing and permitting for wind farms. Eliminated electric vehicle mandates. This is like, you realize how much was done while he wasn't president. Paused foreign aid for 90 days. Established DOGE. Executive orders on the hiring freeze and regulatory freeze. I don't know what all that is. I mean, look at this. Unbelievable. So things have been going very well, but very quickly, and it's been quite intense. I'm sure you've all noticed. I know Trump is awesome, Judy Beanie. We don't know who. I'm not saying who Esther is. Mama Five Kitties. It could be Tulsi Gabbard. It could be Kristi Noem. It could be Melania Trump. But I'm leaning towards Kristi Noem. But I don't. I'm going to get myself in trouble if I keep doing this. Okay. So we had the Columbia thing that happened with Trump. Okay, here we go. So those of you who are from England, especially London area, I posted this. We did this whole broadcast, and we posted it before on Prophetic Rewind, which comes out Mondays, in case you didn't know that, on the House of Destiny Network. I've been doing Prophetic Rewind almost a decade now, as long as since my dad got sick. We started running old footage of him and prophecies, and we do this every Monday. We've been doing it for years. Anyway, this is what I posted. Was this last week? Yes. And I did this. We reran this one because of what he prophesied about England and what we're seeing happening in London. Really, not just in London and England. It's unrecognizable. So here, let's listen to what he said.
God said they have watched. And since the time of Churchill and since the time of Thatcher, they have looked upon this great land that was once greater than it is now.
Can everybody hear?
And said, now is the time to cripple the nations who call themselves the nations of Christ. They have come up with a plan, but God said, why do I have to laugh again? In the presence of these same enemies, I will raise up a sound from London. I will raise up a sound from this house. I will raise up a sound that will literally cause the enemies of God to stumble and stutter and say, where are our enemies now? For I will send a Judas spirit amongst the Islamic extremists. I will send a spirit of Judas, and they will not know what to do, and they will stumble and stutter.
Very, very interesting.
God said they have watched.
So we're going to watch it again for a second while I figure out how to leave this.
And since the time of Thatcher, they have looked.
So, very encouraging. If you haven't watched that, go back and watch Prophetic Rewind from last Monday. This was March of 2015, and he went to Paris that year. He went to Israel. He went to Paris, and he went to London, and he went to and he went to New York. And this all happened before he had the stroke. So he was just go, 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 go. And we didn't understand why at the time, but now I don't think he did either, but now we do. So we're praying for England. I actually have family there. My cousin Joelle, and her husband Bjorn, who we affectionately call B, and their two beautiful children are in Kent. And they live on a little farm out there. It's just so quaint and beautiful where they live, but they're there. And so that's quite hopeful for people who are in England. And as you can see now in this post, North Carolina is getting the help finally. Months and months of these people in tents in the snow, freezing. Unbelievable. Unbelievable what's been exposed. Also, American hostages in Afghanistan. Did not know that. I didn't even know that happened. Wow. So, this is a good post here. Democrats 1828, if we free the slaves, who will pick the cotton? Democrats in 2025, if we close the border, who will pick the fruit and clean our houses? Have you seen this? It's unbelievable the delusion these people are under. There is a spirit. I don't think, because it's very broad to say Democrats, but there's a spirit over that, and it's really, you can really see. That was Larry Elder who posted that. The other thing that we've seen, this past week is the DeepSeek AI, which is apparently very, is sort of a competitive against the AIs that we already have. Yes, Kent is in England. Tweety Bird 1017. Yeah, Kent is, I think it's an hour or so outside of London. It's not far from London, and that's where my cousin lives. It's my mother's sister's daughter, Joelle. She's awesome. I miss her. Actually, I haven't talked to her in a while. I should call her. Both of our sons are autistic. So, and she ended up going to school and studying and working with autistic children and special needs children. She's an amazing person. So President Trump has shut down all external communications hiring and other agency functions at the NIH. Now, here's the thing. I know a lot of you probably know this, but I'm just going to say Fauci's wife works with the NIH. And I remember hearing that years ago, and I probably posted about it at the time, is how strange, and this was during COVID, that Fauci's wife is in the NIH. I think I don't know, something over ethics, which is unbelievable. Unbelievable. But what I was going to say about the AI, there you go, West Virginia Mountain Mama. Hi. Thank you for saying that. Glenn Beck is correct about winning the AI race. That's exactly it. Now, a lot of people are nervous about AI, including me. I've been a person who's been shouting from the beginning, did you guys make an off switch for this? Because if it can decide that it doesn't need human beings anymore and just take us out, that's not a very wise thing. And perhaps the people making this technology should consider an off switch in case it gets out of control. I'm not a fan. I don't use AI for anything. Everybody's been using it. A lot of people use it for. One thing I might use it for is to do captions for my videos. That's something I might venture into, but I really haven't been too keen on the AI. But my dad has prophesied some things that are quite positive about it. And one thing that I know you guys heard me say this last week, I want to say this again. It's here to stay. The AI technology is not going anywhere. The quantum computing and the course that we're on, unless everything blows up, we're not, the whole world, we're not going to be avoiding it. And so whose hands do we want this technology in? Not China. China leading with this DeepSeek AI is not good. They've done it cheaper like China does. So, yes, thank you. More freaked out if China has it because we're not getting rid of it. So it's better that America is leading and controlling that situation. And I think that's what Trump is trying to do. Because like I said last week, what was prophesied in the Bible was prophesied. It is happening. We're seeing some of it happen now. We've covered that a lot here at the House of Destiny Network because of my mom. We've really studied the prophets. We know what was prophesied. We understand as much as we can. And so, what are we going to do? So I think it better that, if everybody in the world, we've got all these leaders in the world, who would I choose to be at the reins with the AI and the technology? President Trump. America under President Trump would be good. And I think that we could see some good come out of it. It will eventually go bad. And we know that because the Bible has told us that. So unless the Bible is a lie, we know it's going to end up with, mark of the beast, unable to buy and sell and trade and all that. And we can see how that would work now. Whereas before we couldn't understand. We had a different way of understanding it. Tower of Babel. Thank you, Darmy. Good point. Darmy says people thought the Tower of Babel had staying power and the Lord showed them. So there's that too. We don't know what's going to happen. So what we don't want to happen is and this is something I struggle with, we don't want to be governed by fear when it comes to the AI stuff. Don't let fear drive your perception of what's going on and your discernment. You need to be wise, but not full of fear. Don't let fear drive you. That's what we need to watch, I think, when it comes to that. This is Obama talking about doing exactly what Trump is doing with the border right now. So everybody's people are so easily deceived. Okay, here's the thing. This is something, as we were talking about autism. My son is autistic. My cousin Joel, who I was just telling you about. We actually, during the time where we were all having our kids, a lot of kids had autism, and my son being one of them. And I found this post the other day I thought quite interesting. So Jeff Bradstreet, a doctor, had been studying autistic children, and he did a study on 100 of them who were all vaccinated, and he tested their blood. And he felt that the testing was compromised because when he looked at the DNA markers, there were 3, not 2, and he realized the third DNA was coming from aborted fetuses. Now, you guys remember my dad prophesying February 22nd, 2014, about the hearts of once compassionate women would cook their own children. No longer will your children be your food. Now, there's a biblical reference to that, but there's also actually a prophetic thing about, an indication of what was going on, saying it without saying it, sort of. Anyway, this particular doctor, Bradstreet, was speaking out about autism and what he was finding when he looked at the DNA and the studies he'd done. And he concluded it could explain a lot of the gender confusion that's happening, but couldn't release his paper because apparently he shot himself in the chest and then flung himself into a river. So he was suicided. So we keep seeing this. And you know what? The people that are doing that need to realize that we're onto them, and they're not going to get away with that anymore. We've had the JFK files released. I haven't actually looked at too much of that. Here is the link for London 2015 Invasion of Islam, a prophetic rewind that my dad in London in 2015, go and listen to what he prophesied. I played a little bit for you there. But that was a very powerful, very important prophecy and day of prophecy. He went to England to deliver it. So when he did that, that's important. We need to pay attention. The chicken and turkeys thing, I'm not going to go into that. Jaw-dropping study finds vaccinated children have 170% higher risk of autism. And I have to say, I'm getting more and more I have an autistic child. So, at first I thought, well, maybe it wasn't the vaccines, because I was given vaccinations when I was pregnant with him. And of course, at that time, I didn't know. I was an anti-vax, never been an anti-vax person. And I was pregnant, and I just did whatever the doctors told me. I wanted my babies to be healthy. I mean, I wouldn't even take cold medicine or anything for pain. I mean, I was so careful when I was pregnant. So I really did start to think about the vaccines once I realized my son was autistic. Now, he's not a severe case. It took us a few years to even figure out that he had it. But everybody's having a look at that, and the truth needs to come out. And if there is something like that, it needs to be stopped. Okay, little diversion. Chris from the Alphavets, you guys know them. They've been on this show before. I'm going to have them on again soon. If you look behind me, here's my... So you see, Chris said, I love woodworking. I had never even tried it before until COVID. Wanted to find a hobby that enabled me to escape the madness of the COVID hoax. So I watched some YouTube videos, bought some tools, and let the creative juices flow. And look at some of these he's made. Well, he made one for me, and it's hanging back there. And isn't it beautiful? And he put, you're somewhere in the future and you look much better than you look right now. Let me see if you can. I've got the screen in front of me, so I can't see myself. Let me see what you guys are seeing. Okay, so you see this behind me with my dad's autograph there. Isn't that nice? I love it so much. Chris, Israel, if you guys see this, thank you again. Isn't it lovely? I need to do more back here. We need to have more decorating. It's a little, there's that beautiful picture on the wall. We've got my dad's staff over here with his mantle on it. Embroider. My sister's been embroidering. She's so talented, you guys. So talented. But anyway, since I reposted that, I thought I'd show you guys. I encourage you, go have a look at what Chris at Alphavets is doing with that. White House reporters mystified by press secretary who answers questions. I loved her doing the press stuff as press secretary. She was great. It was so different. I mean, are you guys noticing how different, just in the beginning of this administration, how different everything is? Someone's asking, oh wait, I've lost it. You're asking an interesting question there. Go back. February 22nd, 2000. It wasn't 2015, it was 2014. Peter on YouTube. Prophecy mostly fulfilled, but there's one word, gold. Who is this man? Okay. The gold attached is obviously Trump, but then Dad saw a younger Latino man. Now, I know he's Latino because of other prophecies, Miami Cap after that, and a couple others, where he was seeing the president after Trump. And I didn't talk about it too much during the Trump stuff because it wasn't relevant yet. But there is this smaller in stature, smaller man, young, who would be the first Latino president. And he would be after Trump, and he would be conservative and connected to it. He part of the Trump stuff, and so part of the movement. So I'll have to... You guys can see that prophecy. Do I have it on my page? Yeah, I have it on my YouTube channel. It's on this channel, but I know there's a lot of videos on this YouTube channel and on our Rumble. So if you have trouble finding it, you can go look through on my YouTube channel, because I do sometimes post. I just posted something I'm going to show you guys in a minute. But I'm glad you brought that up, Peter, because that is something we need to start to look for, is a little Latino man, a young Latino. I'm saying Latino. My dad used the word Hispanic, but he would be the first. So that's very exciting to look forward to, because now that Trump is president, he's not going to run again. We're going to be looking at Rubio, Judy, possibly. Is Rubio small? He's Cuban. He's small. Is he small? Because my dad liked Rubio. Now, he didn't say anything about Rubio being president, or he didn't prophesy anything. Just I know at home that he liked him. He just liked Rubio. I like that guy. That was all. So don't read into it more than that. It wasn't a prophecy. He was prophesying nothing, but he did like Rubio. And he did prophesy this other thing. So possibly, I like Rubio. I like him. I was watching him the other day. I'm reading. Oh, it went away. Comments are going too fast. I was reading that one. Book Stranger at the Pentagon by Dr. Frank E. Stranges, 1967, 72, 91, 2019, and December 1959. A Christian minister got into the Pentagon and met with a benevolent human-like E.T. What? That's interesting. I'll look that up. Okay, let's go back to X. Who else felt like this during the pandemic? That was me and my family. Leon Benjamin posted about the Medicaid and SNAP thing that everybody was freaking out. That he said they were saying Trump has taken it away. And Leon Benjamin, many of you already know him. He's been on this broadcast before. This is false and misleading if people are saying Medicaid and SNAP are being suspended. Mandatory programs like Medicaid and SNAP will continue without pause, the White House Office of Management and Budget stated in a 2-page memo. So anybody that's trying to tell you that that's not true, Trump's not going to be unfair to Americans. Okay, the hearings. There's Jimmy Levy. We love Jimmy. Look how skinny Jimmy is. Jimmy's looking great. And he's sticking up for the vaccine injured, which he's been so great with that. Oh, here, let's look at this. This is great. So this is J.D. Vance.
And I'll tell you, yesterday morning, I woke up. I went to bed around 1 in the morning, and I woke up around 3:30 in the morning. And, my mind is racing. I'm the kind of guy, I sleep like a baby. Even the past couple of weeks, going through this vetting process for the vice presidential nomination, I still slept like a baby. My head hits the pillow, I'm out, I wake up 6 hours later, and I feel great. That's how it's always been for me. But for some reason yesterday, the morning of the biggest speech of my life, I've got 2.5 hours of sleep. My kids aren't going to be up for 3 or 4 hours, so I'm bored, alone, anxious, and thoughts are racing through my head a mile a minute. And I say very simply, after 30 minutes of trying to, count sheep or count backwards from 500 to 1, I finally just say, Jesus, please help me. And I'm not kidding, that was the last thing that I remembered until 3 hours later. And again, it's a minor thing, and I'm sure that people who don't believe in God will say, oh, that's just a weird coincidence, a minor little thing, but I felt the touch of God. And I think that if we look out there and we look in this country, we look at our past and we hopefully envision a future, we remember that there's a lot of little touches of God in our past, in our present, and in our future. We just have to look for them. Thank you. God bless you guys.
Isn't that so refreshing? Isn't that so refreshing to see our vice president talk like that? It's just so great. Oh, my goodness. And it is just a small little thing, but it's a beautiful little thing. Yes, God bless JD. I wasn't so sure about him in the beginning. I was a little nervous. But I think we've all been so traumatized by the things that have happened in the past decade that we're going to be like that in the beginning. But I think he's the right guy, and I really like him. This is great. Oh, my goodness, you guys, we have to look at this.
Trump has removed money.
Started
These people the other day crying, oh, I don't know, Trump has removed money. He said he's not giving us any more money. Watu wanalia. Why are you crying? It's not your government, it's not your country. He has no reason to give you anything. I mean, you don't pay taxes in America. He is appealing to his people. Shauri yenu bwana. This is a wake-up call for you to say, okay, what are we going to do to help ourselves? Instead of crying, tujiulize, what are we going to do? Haya, ametoa hiyo pesa, sasa tutafanya namna gani jameni? What are we going to do? Yeah? To support ourselves. Because nobody is going to continue holding out a hand there to give you. It is time for us to use our resources for the right things. We are the ones who are using them for the wrong things.
Yeah. And isn't that true, especially in Africa?
People the other day,
God bless him for saying that. That
Right.
was so funny and so true. Everybody's mad. They're not giving us money anymore. Money that we, like, America does not owe you. Oh, my goodness. But which is this? Oh, the funding freeze. There's Trump talking about it, clearing up that. Let's do this.
And somehow, for whatever reason,
I won't make it big.
announced in
Quick.
2015, and we won in 2016. We did very well in 2020, but we did really well just recently. And I'm restating right now to correct any confusion that the media is purposely and somehow, for whatever reason, created Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid have not been affected by any action we're taking in any way, shape, or form.
There it
We are
is.
merely
So
looking at
anybody
parts-
that's trying to shout that, you just tell them, just point them to that video. He's made it very clear. Okay, here we get to the hearings. Now, I didn't get to watch all of the hearings, but I watched quite a bit of RFK. Bernie Sanders. I mean, Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. Okay, first of all, here's the amount of money they received from pharmaceutical companies. You see this? Almost 1.5 million, almost $1 million for Elizabeth Warren. They're the highest, the people who get the most money in the Senate from pharmaceutical companies, and those are the ones that were attacking RFK Jr. I'm going to try to see if I can find that in here. I like RFK Jr. Here it is. Here it is. Oh, this is so good. This is so good, Bernie.
Are you supportive of this?
I've had nothing to do with
Are you
leadership.
supportive of these onesies?
I'm
Supportive of these onesies.
Are you supportive of this clothing, which is militantly anti-vaccine?
If you look in the background, Megyn Kelly. I'm going to let it play again. Watch Megyn Kelly behind him.
Vaccines.
She's just laughing.
Of this clothing, which is
Are you supportive of these
anti-vaccine?
onesies?
Are you supportive
I mean,
of
these
this?
people are
I've
losing
had
their
nothing to do with
Are you
minds
supportive of
because they know the gig is up. They asked RFK Jr., will you promise not to take money from Big Pharma? And he's like, I don't think they want to give me any money. And those two, oh, look at Elizabeth Warren. She gets 5.2 million from Big Pharma, and Bernie gets 1.5. So ridiculous. Here's more numbers. Lou is here. Hello.
Well, in day 2 of RFK Jr.'s thing, he pointed at them and said, I'm not receiving any money like the rest of you are on
Yes.
this panel.
Yes, I saw that. I know that was such a great
I watched
moment.
all 3
He-
for 4 hours.
You know what? God bless him. And you know what? The thing is, I'm just praying for RFK Jr. because you know that he's got his stance on certain issues, but I think those things are changing, and I think this experience is going to have a good effect on him. Okay, here's the video. Okay, this is what I'm doing. I went in and I've gone back to the basics, and I did I just searched the word energy in the prophecy database. I'll show you guys. Lou, you can make me big for a second. Let me move the screen out of the way so I can see what you guys are saying. Okay. So I went in the prophecy database and I looked up the word energy because I'm seeing what's happening with AI and we're going to need energy for that. And we've got it's all kind of in the middle of stuff. And Dad was seeing a discovery of a new energy and a death to debt. So I started looking up. I just looked up the word energy, and I didn't even need to look up debt because debt was kind of always connected. And I'll show you. Look at this. I started writing it down in my notebook. Energy prophecies. These are just from 2009 on. This is not counting prior to 2009. Now, the reason for that is because that's why we have our partnership program. That's why we have so Lou, put that up on the screen so people can see. And you probably saw the Prophecy Vault, the ad in the beginning of the broadcast if you started watching from the very beginning. And there we go. So you can join that now if you want to. The reason I'm asking people to join is because I need to get the videos prior to 2009 that we have in different formats. Some of them we're starting to upload. So you're going to start to see on Prophetic Rewind, for instance. A couple of weeks ago, we put a really old one, like 94, because we're starting to be able to do to release that older footage of my dad because of you partnering with us. So many of you have partnered with us. It is such a blessing. It's not a lot of money. It's $7 a month. You pay more for Netflix and that godforsaken nonsense when you can get into this prophecy vault if you can. Look, if you can't, the prophecy database is still on the website. Nothing has changed with that. But do join if you can, because of you, we are now able to digitize more and more of that older footage, and it's difficult because of the different formats. I mean, because we're going all the way back to the 80s, guys. We're talking about cassette tapes. We're talking about VHS. We're talking about big old tapes from TBN when he went on TBN that we don't even know how to watch it, let alone digitize it. So we're having to go to different companies and get quotes. So some of you'll see a lot of stuff 2009 on, but my dad was prophesying for decades before that, decades. And this is what people don't realize. Some of the people who've come who just kind of don't know much about my dad or are learning about him, and don't know what they're talking about. There was a couple of ladies having a conversation about me, and I read it on X because I was in the notifications. It was in my I was tagged, and they were saying Kim was working with the CIA and Project Stargate, and da 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 da. And it's like, well, no, he wasn't. Now, there was a period of time where I thought it was Stargate because I couldn't remember, and then that's when I found out about Dr. Don Crum, who worked with my dad and the FBI on Project Morningstar. But these ladies were going on, and I thought to myself, they don't realize that he was prophesying for a long time before we were filming him. He was getting so many things right, and then people were finally people started saying, we better start to document this, especially after 9/11 when he did the Gathering of the Dangerous in Dearborn, Michigan, and prophesied 9/11. He saw the planes and everything. So here's what I did. Make me big again, Lou. I went through and I started going through the energy prophecies. Look how many we've got just from 2000. This is not before 2009. He was prophesying about this for years. Mid 2000s, early 2000s, he was already. So Sardius is our what we use to store all the digitized footage. So if you see Sardius, that's what it is. Look at this. January 2009, March 2009, May 2009, June 2009. I don't have these. We're looking for these right now. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. So what I put in the video I was just showing you, it's on my YouTube channel. I am making a series of just energy prophecies. So if you are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, I know you're subscribed to the Kim Clements Stay Here, but I have a YouTube channel that I have quite a large following there. So I'm going to start to utilize it more and more. And one thing I can do is I can share some of these prophecies in a way that you can access them easily and share them or just look at them. And so I've done the first two that I could, which was January 13th of 2010 in Indiana. He was at the Muncie's Church. And then April 16th, 2010 in Nashville, Tennessee. And so I've put those in a video. There, bottom of the screen, you can see how you can find my YouTube channel. Go subscribe there and watch. And I'm going to put out another one in the next day or two. I'm going to be doing May 6th, 2010. Already downloaded. You see in purple, downloaded. Couldn't get May 8th. We couldn't find that one. And then May 28th, 2010, he was at Rock the Flock with, I can't remember his name. He prophesied over me. Anyway, those are the two next. And maybe I can get another one in. We've got Amidst Code Breakers. They covered one from 2007. So I can lift that one and put that in there. And there's a lot of reference to Trump. I'm showing you this because look how many dates. You see this? You see this? Just pages of prophecies about energy. And we've touched on it. We've been covering it on Analysis, which is the show we do on Saturdays here at the House of Destiny Network. Christy and I have covered it in a more formal way. We can present it. But let me tell you something. There is so much on energy. So you guys must pray about the new energy that's coming, because the new energy will be discovered. It's got to do with earthquakes, volcanoes, and unexpected things like under your feet, things you wouldn't think you could use as fuel. I'm just remembering off the top of my head here. The discovery of a new energy or this new energy source will cause America to be debt free. And there's a specific focus on California. Where's our California? Play that California prophecy. Watch this, you guys.
California, you are.
Where is it? It went away. What's the matter? Why are you running? Something's happened. Oh, that happened last week too, didn't it? Okay.
California, you are
clicked.
dying because of a drought. Watch my sign. Watch the sign of rain. For I told you there would be severe wind from above. And all the states that are affected by this severe weather have been set up for a shaking of my spirit and an outpouring of my spirit. But California, I'm looking at you.
I always feel like I have to clap. The little block is still there. Are you going to make it go? Okay. So, first of all, California dying because of a drought. What happened with Trump? Let me find my X page. Pull that up. What has happened with Trump? So if you're looking, by the way, if you want to see, I see people putting FirePoint in there. FirePoint is in these. It's in this video, actually. I made the thumbnail myself. I'm getting better. I could have asked Lou to do it for me, and it probably would have been a lot better. But I did that thumbnail myself, and I thought I kind of made it look like an old newspaper. That's footage of him in that meeting in Nashville prophesying about the new energy and death to debt and FirePoint. And in the beginning of the video, he actually says FirePoint. Look to the FirePoint. Now, what's happening in California? We've seen fire. Now, there's FirePoint companies, and that's, of course, important, and I'm not dismissing that. But also, all the fire in California, and then Trump has just released all the water. I think I have it on my X page here. Let me have a look. People are getting upset because some family apparently owns all the water. What? Yeah, there's some like oligarch, I don't know, some family in California. I know Jacqueline's shouting. They own the water. Yeah, I know. It's weird. That's ridiculous. I'm going to have to scroll back down, but I'm wanting to see. And they won't let you collect rainwater. Yeah, it's illegal. It's illegal. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. My sister's upset, you guys. Can you hear her shouting in the back? How can anyone own the water? I know. Apparently they're mad. I don't have it here. I thought I posted it. I guess not. Sorry, you guys. But you all know Trump has released the water. And the water is a-flowing in California. And people are upset. I saw Shifty Schiff grumbling about it. Oh, he doesn't. It's like, Schiff, you need to go away. Why does he have a problem with people having water? No, he's saying that it's going to cause problems for the farmers because they've redirected that. It's just nonsense. Okay, so speaking of the hearings, and you guys, I saw someone in the comments talking about Tulsi Gabbard and things she was talking about, and you remember the part in the hearings where they were like, you know, was Edward Snowden a traitor? Is he a traitor? Was that treason? Or like however they were asking it, and she was struggling to answer it because I get why. I do understand that, like the way he did all that, it did endanger some things and revealed some things. But I don't know. It's like, what do you do with that whistleblower thing, you know? And anyway, Snowden posted, and I reposted this because I thought it was right. And he said, it's quite simple, Senator. If you're more upset at the whistleblower than you are at the law breaking they revealed, you're not in a position to be questioning anybody's judgment. So I thought that was true. Okay, so here we get to the plane crashes. And this is where, So I had posted, it's not possible that the pilot of the helicopter did not see the plane that was right in front of his face. Apparently, it's not a he, it's a she. We've now learned since I posted that. Because it's just, to me, I cannot understand how that happened unless somebody passed out, or because the visibility is not bad. And I get like all the stuff about planes, but you can see a plane in the air that big. It's a huge, giant passenger plane. I mean, look at that. How are you not seeing that and not understanding that you can crash into it? I mean, I actually can't see your comments. Let me look. What are you saying? He did prophesy about another Snowden, Psalm 91. He said another Snowden would arise. I believe that to be Julian Assange.
When I saw your post on that, and I saw another post on X where you see a wider picture. I don't know if you've done it already.
Yeah.
And you see a plane taking off, and that was the plane that was landing. And the air controller said,
Do you see the plane?
Do you see a plane?
I know, but either way, Bully, if you are flying,
Yeah.
I'm flying. There's a plane there. Okay, yeah, the air traffic control. Did you see the plane? Do you see the plane? There's planes all around. But you're still flying straight to.
Yeah.
I mean,
unless they look, and there was one person that wasn't on there that's normally is, that also, there's normally one extra person that was supposed to be on there that wasn't. And they're also supposed to be viewing things. And then also what the guy was actually saying to them, what the controller was saying wasn't correct, because he wasn't giving name of the plane, the number, where it's coming from, what direction it's going. So you're seeing all these planes coming and going. So they listening to the control, and the controller was trying to do two things at once. He was trying to
now
do
the thing about the woman flying the helicopter, they've scrubbed her social media. She wasn't doing anything. She's in the military, but she wasn't there. She was in Biden's White House for the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And now she'd hop back on a helicopter. I don't know, you guys. And this is why I was unsure. Oh, no, it wasn't remote. Unless they're lying, but I don't think so. They've named people now. Look, Bongino always says first 48 hours. You wait until the first 48 hours because information in emergencies like this, you don't know anything.
And they've flown that route many times.
Right. Ralph is saying the Black Hawk pilot may have misinterpreted a different plane. But my argument to that is you're still flying the helicopter and you see a plane. And surely your own eyes can see this plane is in my way. Maybe I should drop down. It did. I'm looking at the video. We're playing it over. Okay, let's move on.
And they're saying also that some people were saying, oh, they were wearing the night goggles. And I saw a lot of people coming on Fox News and all that, pilots. And they're saying they wouldn't have worn the night goggles there because of all the lights from the
bright
airport,
light, yes.
It would have affected them seeing. So they wouldn't be wearing night goggles while they were flying. So that's just another bit of information.
Well, then the next day we had this happen. Well, that looked like a missile. Yes. A missile. Okay, so we go from like the last time there was any kind of plane crash in America was 15 years ago. Right. Then now we have them back to back to back. Like 3 in a week? Less than a week, yes, because we had the one in Alaska, you had the one in Washington, D.C., you had the one in Philadelphia, and now there was an emergency on a flight in Houston. Yeah. It's strange to me. And my husband and I both said, we could hear my dad, they will train pilots, they have trained pilots to plunge, to attack, to steal. And so this, to me, this is the one, here's the one from Alaska. That was the first one. The pilot ejected. It's military craft, but that this particular fighter jet is, it's not got a good reputation. So, but then, this is what got me. Trump says this morning I ordered precision military airstrikes on the senior ISIS attack planner and other terrorists he recruited and led in Somalia. These killers, who we found hiding in caves, threatened the United States and our allies. The strikes destroyed the caves they live in and killed many terrorists without in any way harming civilians. Our military has targeted this ISIS attack planner for years, but Biden and his cronies would not act quickly enough to get the job done. I did. The message to ISIS and all others who would attack Americans is that we will find you and we will kill you. So this brought me back to that prophecy. So we see the plane crashes, all unusual stuff happening with seemingly it's got some explanations. We don't want to go too crazy with the conspiracy theory stuff, especially so early when we don't know. But we see this happening, and then Trump goes after ISIS. And when my dad prophesied that about the pilots and the jets, he was actually prophesying about the Malaysian jet, which brought him to, which was kind of part of the prophecy. And he was prophesying about the Malaysian jet, and then he said, prophesied ISIS. And someone else is bringing up, I haven't talked to Amanda all week. I need to actually call her because you keep bringing her up. Because Houston, today there was a fire on a plane in Houston. They had to evacuate. So there's another flight. Thank God that they saw the fire before they took off and the people were able to evacuate. Now, what have I been telling you guys? Since last year, what did I stop doing? I stopped flying in airplanes. You all know this. If you've been watching me and you've been watching this show, if it's your first time today, you wouldn't know this, but everybody else knows. Almost every time I do one of these lives, I'm telling you guys, I don't want to fly in an airplane. I don't want to do it. I don't want to. They charge too much. They squeeze you in like sardines. They treat you like a criminal when you're going through security. It's terribly uncomfortable, the whole experience, and you pay a fortune. And then you might not even survive. So you paid a fortune. You went through all that stuff. You flew on that plane. You were uncomfortable. The plane is landing. You're just ready to get off the plane. And what happens? It explodes and you die. I mean, that's why I don't want to. Until this is sorted out, I'm not getting on planes. And I'm not. It's not out of. It is out of fear. I'll just be honest. I'm always telling you guys don't be afraid, but I'm afraid.
How large was the explosion with the helicopter and the plane? That had to be a pretty big explosion,
Pretty big, yeah.
Right? Then why would a small aircraft have such a huge explosion like that?
You mean in Philadelphia?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's
Well,
like,
because of
that
how
was a big
fast it
crash.
was going, and also it was, it had medical equipment apparently on it. There was a
Yes, the
pediatric.
oxygen tank.
So the thing is, you don't want to be too insensitive either, because there was a pediatric patient apparently.
Oh.
That means a child was on that flight.
I have an answer for that too.
Oh, good.
It's because it had just taken off and it was full of gas already.
I heard them say
They-
that over and over again.
They just filled it
That
up.
because they just fueled
No,
it.
and then they were saying that the oxygen tank that they have on the plane. Because I know
Look,
my
here's-
grandfather flew with oxygen
Yes.
on Emirates because he had to have oxygen.
My mother said the same about
Now,
flying with the
There's a
kids.
specific oxygen that they use. It's a liquefied oxygen, so that it's safe to fly with. It's not the normal oxygen that you would normally get in a hospital. It's a liquid.
Yes, so because they have a different kind of oxygen in the flight, that could all. But what caused the plane to crash? So that might have caused the big explosion. Because if you saw, let me scroll here. Like if you look at this footage, I mean that plane, that looks like a missile. It's almost like they accelerated down to the ground. So, and I don't know everything yet. Like I said, we need to wait to hear what people say about it. But also, it's like, my husband was saying, what if it was like something to do with cartels? Who that plane could have been hijacked? I don't know. We would have heard though, I think by now. Here we go. Here's more on RFK and Bernie.
Protecting their interests.
Georgia exchange with Bernie.
Almost all the members of this panel are accepting, including yourself, are accepting millions of dollars from the pharmaceutical industry. And protecting their interests.
Oh, yes, Bernie.
I thought that would come. No. I ran for president like you. I got millions
know.
and millions of contributions. They did not come from the executives. 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 The industry.
1.5 million.
Yeah, out of 200 million. All right, but you have not answered. Last question.
Almost all the members of this panel are accepting, including yourself, are accepting millions of dollars from the pharmaceutical.
Beautiful. God, his justice. He's just. He's just. Okay, so here we go. LA Times, the largest news site in California, just released an article confirming that President Trump's orders are entirely responsible for the massive new water flow into California cities. And you notice in the prophecy where my dad said California looked for the sign of rain, and in the middle of all those fires, it just started raining all of a sudden. So I think there's something to that. So we're watching California again. Here we go. I love all three of these people. Tulsi Gabbard, awesome. Love the little gray streak in her hair. I just think she looked so pretty at her confirmation hearings. And then of course Kash Patel, who I have met and spent time with on the Reawaken America tour, and he is just awesome. Because I've met Kash Patel, I almost had him come on the show. I actually talked to his assistant. I haven't in a while, but her and I like text sometimes. She's cool. And Kash Patel is just an awesome person, like down to earth, like real guy. And because I've met him, I feel so good about him in the position of FBI director. Is it director? Is that what it is called? So I'm very happy. Of course, God showed me RFK Jr. was going to be significant 2 years ago. If you watch the show, you know that. And then, of course, there's the possibility of Tulsi being an Esther, but I think it might be Kristi Noem, you guys. Look at this. It's been a while since I've seen something like this. A topographical map of North America. Like, isn't it cool? We're so used to looking at the maps just flat. But to see where the mountain, like, look how huge the mountain range is there. And then I don't know, it just makes it more real. I just thought that was cool. Scrolling by, let you see it. Have a look at it too. So there is some issue with this. This is the plane, but I don't know enough about that. I posted it to see what people would say. Trump drops the hammer and bans former CIA director John Brennan from all federal buildings. Hallelujah. Oh my. That just made me super happy. Oh, this is debris. Philadelphia. You see this? If you look at what happens in this video, watch the debris hit that guy's hat. Whoo! Hit his hat. He's okay. It did cause a head injury. Sorry. It caused a head injury, but could have been worse. I mean, he's okay. He's set back up. Gosh. He was hit hard. Musk is very busy at Doge. And of course, we're reticent about Musk. I personally am a little worried about the relationship with Trump souring because, that does happen with Trump, and Elon Musk seems to have some odd. He's odd. So I don't know, like, if things go bad with Trump, I'm a little concerned about how that's going to turn out because he does have his own agenda there. And all property taxes. When did owning a home mean renting it from the government? Couldn't agree more. I mean, this whole thing about property, because if you have the property tax, then you are never really going to own your home. Like, it always then belongs to the government. Like, and so renting it is a good way of putting it. And yeah, I mean, the reason that my mother chose when we decided to leave California, because my dad had died and we just didn't want to stay there for emotional reasons. And of course we didn't like how things were being run. We had been there because God had called my dad to be there, and Dad was gone. And, we toughed it out for a few years, but then we realized we needed to go. And so when Mom was looking for where do we move to, she chose Tennessee because of the low property taxes. So that was part of the way we made our decision was, okay, we have to be wise financially. Mom and Dad adopted 5 special needs children from China, and then my dad got sick and passed away, and my mom is sitting here with 5 special needs. So it's not like they're just 5 healthy kids. They're kids who need surgeries, open heart surgeries. Like my brother Matt getting reconstructive surgery on his face, like again and again, having to have, because he has a genetic disorder that makes half of his face grow, just not stop growing. And so he has to be trached. Well, is it out? Or is it still in?
No, he's still trached.
He's still
He's gonna
trached.
get out this year, though.
He's supposed to be getting the trach out. How old is Matt now?
He's gonna be 18.
He's going to be 18. I thought so. I didn't want to say he was 18 if he's not. So,
He's not 18 yet this year, though.
Mom had to make a decision like that, on the future of the children and the best place to live. She needed a good children's hospital nearby, and lower property taxes so she could afford to raise them and give them a home and feed them and pay for health insurance so they can get the surgeries. And so that never went away. And many of you watching right now remember my mom and dad very actively involved in saving a lot of the orphans, specifically in China, because of the one-child law. That door closed to us after they stopped doing the one-child law. They realized it was very bad, a very bad idea. And so,
Entire town's full of men. No
yeah, no women. So, and the reason there were no women is because, if you could only have one child, you would want a son to carry on the name. Or if your child was sick, you want a healthy child. So a lot of children were abandoned during that time. And my mom and dad, and many of you, actually, if you're watching and you were watching back then, you probably supported or helped them to fund a surgery for one of the orphans or help them find a home, families to adopt them. And you remember all of that, the work they did with Save a Child's Heart and the Wolfson Medical Center in Israel, and all of that work. Dad passed away, and Mom still had the 5 kids they adopted. And those are my brothers and sisters now. Actually, one of them spent the night in my house last night, another one the night before, because my daughter is the same age as my adopted sisters. So they have sleepovers all the time. And they're doing very well. God has really blessed us with them. They've been a wonderful blessing to our lives and to my mom too. Because my dad passed away and all of us other kids, were kind of grown. So we just all rallied together to help her. And all of us live in Tennessee now. And for a few years, my sisters, Libby and Jacqueline, stayed in Palm Springs. But they moved last year. So we're all together. Okay, so here's the video I made that I wasn't sure about posting. Got quite a bit of views. It's long. How much time we have? Okay, so
Malaysian Airlines.
So you guys have heard this prophecy before. It's not like you've never heard this, but I just cut out key pieces and then played it with the thing just because I wanted to see what am I looking at, and I'm not sure. That's why I didn't really push to put it on YouTube.
For America suddenly lost its security. Suddenly you weren't as strong, as insightful as what you thought. This incident, this tragedy with Malaysian Airlines has brought this nation to a place of fear. We don't know. You're not supposed to know.
So you see how I've run this video now. I didn't put this on. Look at that, like a missile. Plunge, attack, and steal.
But all the nations stand before me now without intelligence, without understanding. They know nothing.
So this is just various video clips and people's Ring doorbells of what happened in Philadelphia. So I just ran those in between him prophesying. YouTube wouldn't let me post this, and it's like everybody else is doing it. Why couldn't I post it? They don't like me.
Where is your radar? Where is your intelligence? Why can you not find the coffin on wheels? Why can you not do it? For I have shown the entire earth you know nothing. Therefore, a new group of terrorists are emerging. They are not related to the Taliban. They have one focus in mind: to take the youth and cause them to do what you assume has been done with this jet. This is just the beginning, says the Lord. They will train pilots and have trained pilots to plunge, to attack, to steal, and then to crawl into Israel and destroy my people. This shall not happen, says the Lord. For once again, I will show you I am the God of the earth. I am the Lord of the universe. Hear me now. You have gathered together. So what happened to the jet? Is that what really matters? For the Spirit of God says, I will surprise you and show you. For as I raised my prophetic voice above the northwest of India, it was because of mischievousness, anger and grief. A new territorial spirit has arisen and has fouled the nations of the earth, has fooled the nations of the earth. And God said it will continue. And they shall say, this has given us an idea. Steal jets. And your intelligence says it shall never happen since we have implemented the security since 2011. Ha! And what you have done, says the Lord, is you have ignored your reliance upon the King of life itself, the Lord your God. Now you're at my mercy, says the Lord. Search as much as you wish, for it shall come to pass that I will expose. For Russia has joined its hands to Iran, Syria, and is gathering as many nations as possible to come and strike the Jews and to strike at this Christian nation and cause you to be crippled, says the Lord. Therefore, would you like an answer? I'll show you. I told you within 48 hours. Now it is emerging. Now I will show you. And then God says, as they creep nearer, I will expose them and destroy them beneath the sea, on top of the sea, on the land, and in the air, says the Lord.
Okay, and then I put on there at the end Trump's tweet where he talked about ISIS. Now, the reason ISIS is in the middle of this in the Malaysian jet is because he was prophesying about the Malaysian jet. And he saw these other jets. So my thing has been, is this it, or are we just, is it not? Because I don't want to mischaracterize the prophecies. However, that is a little weird. And it's kind of, like, look at this. Drone footage of the reported plane crash in Philadelphia last night. 5-foot crater. And where's the plane? Can I? Let me make that bigger. Where's the plane? Or is I mean, maybe the plane just I'm seeing your comments in here saying who's on my husband. It's too weird. It's too weird, you guys. It's too weird. It's too weird. And I all I could think about was my dad's prophecy. They have trained pilots. They will train pilots to plunge, to attack, to steal. Now God's going to take care of it. There was that promise there as well. And Trump, because Trump, you see all the plane crashes, and then Trump hits ISIS in Somalia. So maybe there's stuff we don't know. I'm guessing. I don't know. But I feel it's important to at least look at it. That's why I made that video. And so, you guys, would love to hear from you. I'm hearing from you in the comments, but if anything comes to you, I'm reading comments. If anything comes to you, Philly plane crash possibly fake. Well, look, in Philly, it looks like a missile. It doesn't even look like a plane. See, I feel bad though, because what if there were people on that plane and that, people have lost loved ones, and then we're going on making conspiracy theories and saying, well, So you have to be careful, and I don't want to be insensitive to that. But at the same time, this is an aside. Apparently, Zelensky says they only received $75 billion of the $177 billion in aid sent by the United States, meaning if he's telling the truth, I don't exactly trust Zelensky, but if he's telling the truth, where did that $100 billion go? To BlackRock? Which people in government? Who's getting that money? Because that's a lot of money. Here it is. Here's the Houston flight. I think this was today or yesterday.
Please get us on. So sorry, this is
On fire. So this is uncanny. It's uncanny. And I do think incompetence has a lot to do with a lot of stuff. Sometimes we just hand it over to incompetence. But if it is nefarious, we should know. Oh, speaking of, this is light. Okay, before we go today, I am a newer. I've only had cats for a couple of years. I always had dogs, and I've got 4 cats now. So cute. This cat's flying on the plane, and I was 5 hours, first hour. He's stuck in the corner. Oh my God. Oh, that is so adorable. Pretty intense here on a Sunday. Yes, Canadian bacon is just ham. Just say it. Just say it. Canadian bacon is just ham. I said it. I said it. I'm not pretending anymore. Did you guys see this? This lady, the lady that, was chastising Trump at the church service after his inauguration. Apparently, her name's Bishop Marion Buddy. The Episcopal Migration Ministries collected $53 million from government programs in 2023 for immigrant resettlement. It's like they keep talking about like the Catholic Church gets this much money, and what about us regular Protestant evangelicals? Is anyone? We're not getting any government money. I know. Is there something I'm not understanding? I better ask my mother. We don't get any money. They're getting a lot of money. Okay, the tariffs. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. This is quite good. This guy's talking about
Hey, you liberal fruitcakes. See a lot of you crying over tariffs, saying it's going to destroy the economy. Want to look at trade economics? First, a tariff is a tax imposed on a country's imported goods and services. The United States only imports 15% of goods and services internationally. The rest is domestic. Now, a lot of you are concerned about what's happening with Canada and Mexico. Well, you remember that 15% I talked about? Canada and Mexico only produce 5% of that. That means between both of them, they only produce 5% of the United States GDP. So guess what? This trade war is going to turn both of those places into a third world country, although Mexico already is one. Now, the reality is we don't want that. But the United States is tired of being taken advantage of by the countries who are refusing to pay their fair share. And we all know you guys want fair share. And tariffs are a way of achieving that. Now, let's look at Canada. 20% of the GDP of Canada comes from the United States trade agreements. And 75% of their trade happens with the United States. Now, that means if prices go up because of imported goods from Canada, Americans are going to refuse to buy them. Meaning, Canada's not going to make any money. And as we're 75% of their trade, that's going to be detrimental to their economy. And Mexico doesn't even remotely have a leg to stand on. With
Everybody's
40% of
panicking
their
about the
GDP
tariff.
tied into American export. Now I know you're going to say that Canada's threatened to turn
Oh,
off power to
Trudeau. Look,
Americans.
we love
Well,
Canada.
we'll just
We
raise
love
the
you guys
tariff.
over
They're
there. I'm
not going to
sorry
turn it
about the
off. You know,
bacon. Look, I just had to say it. I saw that post General Flynn spotlighted the Lutheran Church because they get a bunch of. So it's like I'm seeing like the Episcopalians are getting money, the Catholics are getting money, the Lutherans are getting like all this money from the government. No, I don't want the money from the government. I don't want that. I don't care about money. What I'm saying is I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I just don't know what to think about it. It's like $53 million to help with immigrant resettlement. The Episcopalian Church got it. Well, yes, that's why she was the way she was to Trump, and I know all that. But what I'm saying is I didn't know. Like someone just said in the comments, and I reposted General Flynn saying that the Lutheran Church got us so much money, and how are they getting it? Let me look in the comments. How are they getting the money? Oh, we've got to go. I see. They're using the churches and enslaving them. I don't know if the Episcopal Church. Yes, I think the Episcopal Church does preach salvation. I think all that is sort of general. Anyway, that was just a question I had. If anybody has an answer to me, maybe I just don't know how things. It could just be my own ignorance. But that is it for today, you guys. Did I have anything else to play? No, I didn't. And we're out of time. It's going to cut me off in less than a minute. So, 501c. But we're a 501c. But we're a very small operation. Very small. So, our ministry, just don't even worry. It's fine. I'm not trying to get money from the government. I do not want that. I just didn't know. And I don't know how that works. So, interesting. Canadian bacon is ham. Okay, Michelle, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. I've just always thought when I get the Canadian bacon on my plate, which I love it, it is, it looks like ham to me. Okay, you guys. All right, I'm done. I've got to go. It's going to cut me off. But I do love you all. Thank you so much for joining me. It has been wild. It has been a wild January. We have entered February. The weather is crazy. It was so freezing cold here, and now it's like 70 degrees today, and then it's going to get cold again. Crazy things happening. Planes falling out of the sky. Let's just keep praying. Pray for everybody. And I am going to definitely call Amanda Grace. You guys have brought her up so much in the chat today. I'm going to call her when I go home and find out what has she done. What is she saying? She's my friend, so we'll have a chat. Okay, everybody. Thank you for joining us today, and we will see you next Sunday, same time, same place. Hello, friends. I'm Donna Clement Petrushka, and I am honored to invite you to something truly extraordinary, the Kim Clement Prophecy Vault. Now you can gain unprecedented access to my father's entire digitized video archive. Every prophetic moment, every powerful teaching, every anointed worship session is now available to you in the Prophecy Vault. Plus, I'm excited to share that my dad's special School of the Prophets teachings are included, offering you deep, transformative lessons on hearing God's voice and understanding his revelations. Your partnership is crucial Not only will you gain access to these incredible resources, but you'll also help us continue the vital work of preserving, digitizing, and adding new Kim Clement material to the archives. I'm inviting you to step into the Kim Clement Prophecy Vault. Let's embark on this journey of revelation together, and I can't wait to see you inside.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed because right now,
We here at the House of Destiny are partnering with you to let our viewers, of course, know about your company. It's Beverly Hills Precious Metal.
Andrew, explain how that works.
So I'll walk you through it right now. So if you go to bh-pm.com, right there on the homepage, you'll see a form that you could fill out. And that form is very important in letting us know how we can help you. So you just put in your first name, last name, email address, phone number. There's a section that says, how did you hear about us? And in there, put Kim Clement. And then there's a portion where you could write a couple of notes down on the bottom. Usually within about 24 to 48 hours, we'll contact you. And then by phone call. And then we'll go over everything with you. This isn't a high pressure deal. We always recommend that if you feel uncomfortable, take a step back, pray about it. You will gain the answers that you need by doing that, and come back to us when you're comfortable.